Okay, fifth grade, now we're going to go back to the left side of page 18 for another example. And we're going to just look at the textbook part for now, and then we'll move to our notes. Okay, it says, in this decimal number chart, what are the patterns in the diagonals? So now we just looked at the patterns going from left to right, and then we looked at patterns going up and down. And now they want to make it even more challenging and see, well, what if you weren't given anything but the diagonals and you had to find out the diagonal? So it says, using the same system as above, you could fill in the diagonals of a decimal number chart. And then they showed you how they did it. So they had 55 hundredths, and then they show you the diagonal going down is 66 hundredths. So what happened and how did it change from 55 hundredths to 66 hundredths? You will see there on the side there that they added one more tenth and they added one more hundredths than in 55 hundredths. So you're basically doing 55 hundredths plus 11 hundredths. Then you see they go back to the left side there, and then from 55 hundredths they had an empty space. Then you go down and you will see 75 hundredths. What's the change there? Do you see it? Yes, they added two more hundredths. So instead of our normal 1, they added 2 because you skipped a space. Then they went to the right side, back off there, and again you will see they added one more tenth and one more hundredth to 75 hundredths to get 86 hundredths. Then they moved back to the left side, and what happens from changing from 75 hundredths down to 95 hundredths? Yes, again they added two more tenths. So to go down, they had an empty one, and then the fill one for the diagonal, you had to add two more tenths. To just do the regular diagonal to the right, you added one more tenth and one more hundredths. So now would be a good time if you had questions to jot them down. And then now what I want you to do is, Ms. Sharber has on your sheet that you got before, I put that another example in there so you can fill out the diagonals now with me. And if needs be, take the notes that are going to be on the board right on that piece of paper or your notebook, wherever you are comfortable. Okay, let's look at our example here. So this is on the paper for you, okay? So you don't have to write it out, okay? I put here on the side that when we go down, as a reminder, we add 1/10. And then I put up here as a reminder to add 1/100th. And you could do that on your piece of paper as well. So now we see in the textbook, they said to get this diagonal from 55 hundredths down here to 66 hundredths, that the pattern was to add 1/10 and 1/100th. If you're not understanding that fully, then you could go and write an addition problem. It's the same thing as saying 55 hundredths plus 11 hundredths. And 5 plus 1 you see is 6. 5 plus 1 is 6. And you get 66 hundredths. Now if that's still confusing, which it might be because it's new to you, let's just do what we did in our examples prior. What number comes after 55? If we're going to the right, it just says to add 1/100th. So what number would come after 55 hundredths?
56
Yes,
hundredths.
56 hundredths. So there's a space in your chart, fifth grade. It's not in a dark box, but you could put and pencil in what this would be to help you find out what would come underneath, instead of just doing the direct diagonal here is what they're trying to do. But if you aren't catching on to the diagonal, do what we already know. So this is 56. And then what's the rule if we're going down one? Yes, the going down one means we add 1/10. Well, what's 5/10 plus 1/10? 6/10. So that's what I get, that 6. And remember that rule said that digit stayed the same. So you could do both. The diagonal here, if you move over 1 and down, you're just adding 11 hundredths. Or go back to your basic. Move over and put it there and then count down. Okay, now the second one, to go from 55 hundredths down here to 75 hundredths, you will notice here we skip a box. So we said, you will notice this is 5 and this is 7, so we went up what? Yes, 2/10. So if you want to, you could write 55 hundredths plus 2/10. And then we would put our 0 here to hold place value, make an equivalent decimal, and then do your adding. 5 plus 0 is 5, 5 plus 2 is 7. And that's how you got the 75 hundredths, okay, by adding 2/10. Okay, if that's still a little confusing, then fill in this box. What's the rule? Add 1/10. What's 5 plus 1? 5 plus 1 is 6. And that last digit, the hundredths digit, stayed the same. So then you can see 5,500, 6,500, 7,500, and if we wanted to keep going, what would come next? Next one here that they didn't fill in for us would be 8,500s, okay? Then we can move down one more, and this is our 9,500s. So again, from here to here in the textbook, they told us to add 2/10. So again, if you're not seeing that, you could write it out, make an equivalent decimal here, and add. 5 plus 0 is 5, 7 plus 2 is 9, and that's where you get your 9,500s. And then your last diagonal here, from 75 to 86, they said we could add 1100s. One more 10, one more 100. So if you need to, again, you could write the little addition problem on the side. 7,500s plus 1100s. 5 plus 1 is 6, and 7 plus 1 is 8, gives us 8,600s. Again, if that's a little too much, then just do the regular count over. If we're going to the right, we add 100s. So then we would have, and if we're, so what comes after 7,500s? 7,600s. And then to go down, we know go down means to add 1/10. What's 7 plus 1? 8. And you get 8,600s. Okay, that's a lot there, 5th grade. Make sure if you need to, this stuff can either go in your spiral or right on that piece of paper next to the diagonals that we wrote out and fill in that chart. And that would be an excellent time to ask questions. Okay, now we're going to move over to guided practice, which is found in your textbook on page 19. Page 19. Guided practice says in 1 and 2, determine the patterns and then complete the decimal grids. Okay, I have also given you those on your sheet of paper, so you don't have to write the grids by yourself. You can just fill them in. So the first one here, we have 4,200ths. The grid they gave us is a vertical column, so going up and down. What was our rule? Our rule again was to add what? 1/10. Okay, well what is 4,200ths plus 1/10? What would be 4 plus 1? Yes, 5. Good job. So this goes to 52. And remember we said that hundredths number stayed the same. Okay, if I have 52, what's 5 plus 1? Yes, 6. So now we have 6,200ths. Now we go back to our place value again. 6 plus 1 gives me 7. So the pattern here again, when we go down, is adding 1/10 each time, and we see that the hundredths stays the same. So our answers would be 5,200ths, 6,200ths, 7,200ths. Good job. If you have a question, put it down. Now let's go to number 2. Number 2 is back to our diagonals. Now they're making it more challenging. And you will see they only gave us 1,600ths. All right, now we need to determine what we're going to do to figure this out. Are we going to work backwards first? Are you going to jump and go down first because that might be easier for you? You need to determine what you would like to do, and either way you go will not make a difference. I would like to start up here and then work my way down. So I need to look here. This is my tenths place. If I go back, instead of adding 1/10, I need to subtract 1/10. So what's 1 minus 1? Yes, 0. So this is going to become 600ths, because this 1 now needs to change to a 0, and that 6 stays the same. Now to find out this one, we said the pattern is when you go from left to right is that you add 100th. Well, we're not adding this time, we're subtracting. So what number is, you could either look at it this way, 600ths minus 100ths to get me 500ths, or you could think what number comes before 600ths. Either way, so now we know this will be 500ths. Okay, good job. So now you can determine whether you want to stay here and finish this one or work down this way. I'm going to start here in this way, and we know here is 500ths, and so to go down we need to add 1/10. So what's 0 plus 1? Yes, 1. So now we have 1500ths. Okay, and I'm going to keep going to fill this diagonal. What is 1 plus 1? 2. Excellent. So this becomes 2500ths. Now again, to get this diagonal, you can either add 1100ths or you can go over and then add this and work down. So what number would come after 2500ths if we're adding 1? Yes, 2600ths. And then we know to go down. We see here this is 1, this is 2. What's going to be our next? Yes, 3. So this is 36 hundredths. All right, good job, 5th grade. This would be a good time to write me some questions. And then we can look on to number 3. It says use structure. In a completed decimal chart, look at the first row, which begins with 1 hundredths, 2 hundredths. If Renee were to create a thousandths chart, now we're getting more one place value over, it says what 2 numbers would immediately follow 1 thousandths? What would come after 1 thousandths? Yes, 2 thousandths. What would come after 2 thousandths? Yes, you got it, 3 thousandths. So for number 3 in your spiral, you can put those 2 new decimals down, 2 thousandths and 3 thousandths.